at 2 or 3 a.m., I could see lights coming on all around the townhouse development, screaming at the top of my lungs for them. Every curse word I could think of. You're being crazy, stop! The cops come, public disturbance. Born into a pretty interesting family. I always knew that the identity of my parents was a little bit different. My father, Jewish. My mom, not Jewish. You know, Hanukkah was a Jewish holiday, like Passover was a Jewish holiday. But Christmas and Easter, they were Christian holidays. So I sort of knew that we were celebrating both of my parents' holidays. The spiritual side of things, it just wasn't there. One time I was sent to this camp during the summer. I was probably 6 or 7 years old, but my mom sent me during the day. So I came home from this camp. I was walking around the house singing the song that they had taught me. Jesus loves me, this I know. My dad was enraged. No way is my little Jewish son coming home from camp singing about Jesus. I was definitely trying to find myself in my teen years. I believed in God, I prayed occasionally, and I was very uncomfortable in my own skin, incredibly aware of myself. I guess you could say by the time I had hit my freshman year of college, I would look at myself in the mirror and I'd think, none of your friends really like you. They tolerate you. I tried to prove myself by acting cooler, by making more money, and it never worked. No matter how much reassurance I got from other people, or approval I got from other people, it was never enough. And it all came to a head, I think. I was at a friend's house. There was a lot of people there. I think we were all just spending the night, and I was about 18. And I was exhausted for some reason. And so I fell asleep on a couch downstairs. And I woke up, it was probably about 2 a.m, and they hadn't fallen asleep. In fact, they weren't even in the house anymore. Because of my own anxiety and because of the issues that I was experiencing, I was so worried that I was missing out on something. And so I went outside and looked for them. I just thought, of course, this is another example of how they think that I'm nothing. They don't care about me. And so I find myself in the middle of a townhouse development in Montgomery County, Maryland, screaming at the top of my lungs for them. Every curse word I could think of was coming out of my mouth. I could see lights coming on all around. Finally, one of them heard me and came and said, "What are you doing? You're being crazy, stop!" The cops come, public disturbance. And I was incredibly embarrassed because I had gotten my friends into this. So I finally broke down. And I went to my mom and I said, I don't know what to do because I can't keep getting bad grades. I can't keep destroying my relationships. So she said, well, maybe you should see a counselor. I didn't want to see a counselor because that meant I had an issue. When inside I really knew I had an issue. And so she sent me to a Christian counseling center. And I was able to talk about all my issues, and for the first time somebody understood them. As we talked, I started to realize that I was really putting all of my self-worth on these other people. I realized how shaky of a ground that is. Because people aren't perfect, I'm not perfect, and to put your self-worth onto other people who are uneven as it is, that's no way to live. But what he really did was he introduced me to this guy Jesus, who I called Yeshua, who I was told and I was shown in the Bible, what he did for me was give me victory. What he did for me was make me an okay person without me having to do anything except acknowledge him. He gave me a sense of self-worth. He gave me the stability that I was looking for. And all of a sudden I was introduced to this guy who was as stable as it gets. And I realized that I didn't have to struggle anymore to prove myself. I didn't have to try to be okay. I was looking at the world as a glass half empty. And with Yeshua, I look at the world as a glass completely full.